British Spy Stories. Season 6. Counter-Strike. Episode 25. Since the kidnapping of Lydia Orlova, additional resources have been deployed in the GCHQ team supporting Agent Garnett. It's 9 at night when she walks into the communications room in the Forted Imame house, as Luke has received word that the tracking technology hunting for Alexei has found something. Garnett sits down and Luke connects a video call to the operations room in Gloucestershire, 1,000 miles away. The main screen flicks into the feed of Greg Landis, the on-duty operator who is supporting them. He has short dark hair and stern brown eyes. "Good evening, Mum." "Greg, Luke tells me that you've got a fix on the location for Alexei Orlov." "Yes, Mum. We've been using the facial recognition system that we have here called Highgate. It's been running for 5 days, and we patched in the CCTV and traffic cameras across Europe. Orlov has been clever and avoided showing his face, but he slipped up, and we got a partial match this afternoon in Florence. As soon as we got the Highgate match, it allowed us to attach a virtual tag to him on the satellite feed, so we could collect more images and verify his identity. Put up the first image, please, Greg." She pulls back her fingers through her hair as she leans in to inspect the evidence. The screen shows a grainy still image from a CCTV camera in a back street in Florence. 2 men are pictured as they turn into an underground parking garage. Alexei Orlov is looking at the camera. "Who's his companion?" she says. Greg's voice comes from the speakers in the room. "Born Martin Balik in Warsaw. That man is better known by his pseudonym, Karigin. He hires himself out to whoever will pay, and he doesn't mind who it is. He's worked for Russian intelligence extensively, but also on the French covert operations and for the Poles." "What would he be doing with Orlov?" says Garnett. "We don't know yet, but we do know where he went after Florence," he says. "And?" "They went into the hills in northern Italy." A satellite image of the house in Colonnata appears on the screen. "Do we have a map of the area, Luke?" she says, and the man next to her clicks on his mouse to display the roads and terrain around the village. "How far is that from here?" 45 minutes by road, ma'am. I'll send you the research we've done in the house, ma'am. We've got a floor plan, likely ingress points, and the best locations for your team to get decent sightlines into the property." "And Orlov is still there?" she says. "We watched Orlov, Karigin and one female, who we think is his daughter, walk to a restaurant in the town half an hour ago. We think they'll return to the house later." Garnett takes a breath. "Then we'll go in at dawn tomorrow." She turns to Luke. "What time's sunrise?" He types onto the keyboard in front of him. 4:39 GMT, ma'am. "Greg, I want you on only shift, please," she says. "We'll need satellite feeds in our heads-up displays when we go in." "Yes, ma'am." "Message me to confirm that the targets go back to the property. Later this evening, please," she says. Garnett ends the call. "Get the team in here, Luke." 5 minutes later, the 3 other MI6 field agents in the house have gathered in the comms room and all sit on chairs in a circle around Garnett. Agents Balliol, Temple and Wooldridge are all men of a similar type, all ex-army and now working for MI6, all in their late 30s, all muscular, and all with eyes that portray a hardness that comes from having experienced battle. Their only difference is that Balliol is dark-haired, Temple is blonde, and Wooldridge ginger. "Alexei Orlov and his daughter are in a hillside property in a village called Colonnata," begins Garnett. Luke puts images of the property on the screens around them. "We have an operation tomorrow at dawn to infiltrate the property and locate and extract Alexei and Lydia Orlova. There is likely to be another individual in the location, a target called Karigin. He is to be considered an unlawful combatant and secured on site." "Are we taking in the father and Karigin alive, Mum?" says Balliol. "If we can. And if we can't, he says. I would prefer that they're alive, Belial, she says. Orlov particularly has key intelligence that would be of value to the UK. He was planning to defect, but it seems that was smoke and mirrors. A traitor, then. But that doesn't mean he's expendable. She looks at each of the men in turn. Let's not make judgments about him. Our priority is clear. We bring him in alive. Luke distributes sets of briefing papers to everyone about the suggested attack plan that GCHQ have devised. The team discusses it and makes tweaks based on their field experience. When they finish, Garnett says, Muster in the hallway at 0200 hours. Temple and Belial are driving. We'll take the defenders, Sassos and Glocks. Wooldridge will need plastic explosive. Luke, you're manning the comms centre from here, and you'll need to cover security for Mrs. Orlova and the son. Everyone stands and moves out. Inessa hasn't been sleeping well since her daughter was taken, and tonight is no different. The moonlight only creates occasional shadows as she looks around in the darkness, but she closes her eyes again as she's an optimist. One of the things that she's always loved about this house is how peaceful it is. Usually she can't hear any noises in her room, except the sea if the wind is blowing inland. But now, gradually, she becomes aware of voices riding in on the air from somewhere inside the house. She throws back the bed covers and pulls on her dressing gown before going out into the hallway and padding down the stairs in search of the source. Julie, what is it? Inessa uses Garnett's first name, as she considers the woman to be staff. We're on an operation, Mrs. Orlova. We'll be gone soon. Luke will look after you and Maxime. What operation? It's confidential, I'm afraid, madam, says Garnett. Have you found Liddy? Mrs. Orlova, I can't tell you, for your own safety. Inessa wants to order the woman to comply, but she doesn't say as much. She turns away from the group, who continue their preparation. As she climbs back up the stairs, Maxime is sitting on the top step. They're going somewhere, says his mother, but they won't tell me where. The boy stands as she approaches, and he puts his arm around her shoulders. Do you remember, Mama, when I was 15? I fiddled around all the time with that electronic stuff. She smiles at the memory. I bought it all from Moscow that summer, when we came down for August, do you remember? Like always. You loved the beach that year, she says. I was going to build things, but I met that girl, and forgot all about my electronics. She narrows her eyes. Why are you saying this now? I never took it back to Moscow, and it was still all here in my room when I arrived to find Papa. She's still lost. Mama, one of my projects back then was a radio transmitter, which if you reverse, becomes a bug, a listening device. She keeps looking at him, and he puts his mouth right up to her ear, then whispers, I'd put one in the comms room. I've been listening to the spies. She waits now, holding her breath. They've found her, and I know where. Inessa's mind races. Get dressed, Maxim. Something warm, something black. We're going to follow them. Isn't Signora Marchetti's husband a taxi driver? The boy nods. I'll call her. We can't take the Iris. It's inside the gates. Are you going over the back wall, Mama? He smiles. I'm just as fit as I always was. You little monkey, she says. He kisses her on the cheek. We don't need to follow them, he says. I heard the location of where Liddy is on my listening device. 20 minutes later, Maxime leads his mother down the side of the back garden and shows her where to put her feet, on the broken bricks of the wall, to provide footholds. He goes first and pulls her up. They both sit on the top of the wall momentarily, before he jumps down and helps her do the same. Signor Marchetti's Mercedes is there by the curbside. They get in, and the car accelerates away into the night, on Via Giacomo Matteotti. Signor Marchetti knows the village of Colonnata, as he has been driving the roads of northern Italy in his cab for 30 years. He finds a deserted side street on the outskirts of the town, so he can park up and wait for them. They open the back doors and walk off into the town. "Hold on," says Anessa to her son, as she stops under a street lamp. She pulls out the Gratsch handgun that she had taken from Samuel's room in Prague. "What's that for, Mama?" he says. "To make sure we're safe, Maxim, when we find Liddy." And they walk on in silence. The GCHQ information on Karigin's home in Colonnata had shown that the next house along the road is abandoned, and Agent Baliol easily gets access to that building. He lodges himself at an open first-floor window that overlooks the roof veranda and waits with his handgun primed. "Anything?" says Garnett in their headsets, but all three of the agents give a nil report. Garnett and Temple are positioned in the shadows near the roadside, and Wooldridge is in the shrubbery alongside the house. "Wooldridge, lay the charge at the side door." He flits across the roadway to the end of the cellar corridor that Alexei had used to remove Samuel's body and dump it in the Audi that still sits next to the house. The agent works quickly. "Charge in position and arm, Mum," he says. Garnett makes an assessment of their readiness to move. Then she says, "Go ahead, Wooldridge." The blast cracks the night air. "Move in," she says, and Garnett, Temple, and Wooldridge run to the doorway, covering each other. She leads them along the corridor, their SA-80 automatic weapons in their hands, and the lights on the barrels of their guns, flicking off the hard walls as they move rapidly. They check each room as they pass, including the cell where Lydia and Alexei had been held. "Minimal noise," whispers Garnett into headsets, and they tread more lightly on the stairs as they rise up through the house. Maxim and Inessa have seen the three MI6 agents rush into the house from their hiding place along the street. "Come on," she says. And Maxim thinks he's never seen his mother like this, but he likes it. They run to the destroyed doorway that is now smoking from the explosion, and Inessa doesn't hesitate to go inside. Karigin is the first to hear something downstairs. He is instantly awake and reaches under his pillow for his pistol. Alexei too opens his eyes, stands up, and pulls on trousers. He leans across to prise his handgun from the shoulder holster on the back of the chair, then rummages inside his case until he finds what he's looking for, a black balaclava. He pulls it on and opens the bedroom door. Karigin is there on the landing and puts his finger to his lips when Alexei looks at him. Both are trained gunmen. They move to the head of the stairs and stand either side of the railings with their guns ready. Garnett's voice rolls up to them. "Orlov, Karigin, this is British intelligence. We know you're in the building and armed. Put your weapons down. We have personnel covering the exits." The men exchange a glance of defiance, both knowing the other is thinking the same. Karigin holds up 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. He goes down the stairs first, opening fire as he does so. Alexei follows suit. Bullets come back at them from Garnett and Temple, but Karigin keeps firing as he reaches the base of the flight and darts into the bathroom on this level. Alexei gets more pushback and retreats up the stairs, but Karigin appears around the doorframe and fires into the darkness, where the MI6 shots have come from, to give Alexei the chance to get down to this floor. Korygin drops back, then loads a new magazine and comes out of the bathroom, firing again. Garnett hits him first. Blood from Korygin's neck splatters the wall. Temple hits him next, and a red stain starts to spread across his shirt. Alexei runs now down the next flight. He reaches the level of the veranda and sees his wife and son, she brandishing the grash, but she doesn't immediately recognize him in his balaclava. He can hear Garnett and Temple descending the stairs behind him, and his only escape route is out onto the veranda. He turns and runs, crashing out into the night air. Belial raises his handgun as he sees the man appear on the roof veranda, wearing a balaclava. "That was Papa," says Inessa, her brain now realizing that it was her husband. Maxim grabs the gun from her fingers and pushes past his mother in pursuit. There's no exit from the veranda, and Alexei will have to climb down the outside wall to reach the ground. He looks over the low wall at the edge to assess how far he'll need to drop. Belial has a clean shot of the man in the balaclava, and he puts pressure on the trigger just as Maxim runs out of the doorway. The boy doesn't feel the pain when the bullet hits him. His father stops at the sound of the shot and looks at his son. Maxim's eyes are fixed, trying to understand. Inessa appears in the doorway. "It wasn't me," says Alexei to her. "Keep him alive. I have to go. I'll come back for you all." Alexei jumps down and runs to the Audi. The keys are still in his pocket. He presses the opener, slams inside and roars away. When Garnett reaches the veranda, Inessa is on the ground, with her son's head in her lap. "Temple," she says. "Call catharsis support. Helicopter, urgent. Medic support needed." 30 kilometers away to the northwest, at the hospital of San Bartolomeo Pronto Soccorso in Cesana, the lights on the indicator screen flash orange. MI6's field support service, Catharsis, has teams located in every country of the world where British intelligence is active. Within a minute, the rotors of a red Leonardo AW169 helicopter on the pad outside are starting to move, and 10 minutes later, the machine is hovering above the house in Colonnata. A rope drops down from the Leonardo, and a doctor slides onto the veranda, her medical bag dangling below her. Up in the helicopter, a stretcher is attached to the rope, and it's lowered. The doctor makes checks for entry and exit wounds, blood loss, blood pressure, pupil reaction, and airway condition. Lydia walks out to the veranda and her mother puts her arm around the girl. Garnett and the doctor lift Maxim onto the stretcher, and he is hoisted up into the night, followed by the doctor. Then the Leonardo peels away into the blackness. Temple is standing at the doorway. "Mom?" Garnett turns her head to him, and he walks up to her. Then he whispers into her ear. "Target upstairs is dead, Mum." "Thank you," she says. "Wait for me in the Defenders." The man walks out. Only the mother and daughter are left on the veranda with Garnett. "We don't need you any more, Julie," says Inessa. "It seems that you couldn't protect us. The other man is dead, Mrs. Oliver. He was the one who was being paid to kidnap and even kill you. You're safer now. I expect you to be out of my house by this time tomorrow. Thank you." Her tone is dismissive. In the Audi on the coast road, heading north, Alexei Orlov puts his phone on speaker and hits the call button of a stored number. "Adric?" he says, when the man answers. "It's Alexei. It's time to move with our plan. Meet me in Moscow. We're going to build a Gorgon machine.